My neighbor seemed normal until I found out he was a serial killer. When I moved into my new apartment, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. Quiet neighborhood, friendly people, and best of all, a helpful neighbor right next door. His name was Greg, late 40s, single, polite to a fault, and always willing to lend a hand. At first, Greg seemed like the kind of guy you'd want as a neighbor. If my lawnmower broke down, he'd let me borrow his. If I needed help fixing something, he'd show up with his toolbox. He'd even bring over cookies during the holidays. He was a little reserved and kept to himself most of the time, but who doesn't these days? But then, little things started to feel off. One evening, I was out walking my dog and passed by Greg's garage. The door was slightly open, and I noticed a tarp covering something bulky. It wasn't unusual, but there was this faint metallic smell in the air. I shrugged it off. Maybe he was working on something. Then there were the noises. Late at night, I'd hear faint thuds and scraping sounds coming from his house. It wasn't constant, but it was enough to wake me up a couple of times. I told myself he was probably rearranging furniture or working on a project. The first real red flag came when his trash bins were out on the curb one morning. I saw what looked like a bloody rag sticking out of one. My curiosity got the better of me, and I looked closer. It was a bloody rag, along with what seemed like pieces of plastic wrap. I convinced myself it had to be from hunting. Greg did mention he liked to hunt once. Still, I couldn't shake the weird feeling. Then there was the basement. One day, Greg asked if I could help him carry some boxes down there. His house was clean and tidy, but the basement was something else. It smelled musty and damp, but there was also something sharper, like bleach. I noticed hooks hanging from the ceiling. He said they were for drying meat after a hunt, and an old freezer humming in the corner. When I asked about it, he brushed it off, saying it was where he stored his game meat. Things took a darker turn when people in the neighborhood started disappearing. First, it was a local delivery guy. Then a young woman who jogged through the area every morning. Everyone chalked it up to random crimes or people moving away, but I couldn't ignore the uneasy feeling